Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. For the folks who are here in person with us at 180 Maiden Lane, as well as the folks who are on the live stream. My name is Indigo Sparks. This is Studio Demo. Thank you for joining us. Studio Demo is a broadcast hub featuring New Ink's wider creative community, where conversations, demonstrations, and creative exchanges happen live. Our next conversation, Interspecies Storytelling, asks how can fashion embrace and support the more than human world? We are joined by Hillary Taymour, creator of New York-based fashion brand Collina Strada, and curator, writer, and cultural critic Kimberly Drew, for a discussion on interspecies storytelling, animorphism, and activism. Using Collina Strada's practice of bringing animals to the catwalk with stage makeup and collages and prosthetics sourced from nature, the pair will discuss how environmental advocacy can be effectively inserted into a brand's platform. All right. You can also learn more about them on demofestival.org. But we are going to go ahead and get into it, and we're going to have Kimberly and Hillary join us on stage. Just give us one moment here. Okay. Oh, sorry. Do this. Okay, quick round of applause for Kimberly and Hillary. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I don't think she announced Powie. This is Powie. He's a very important part of this conversation.
Hello, everyone. Hello to the live stream. It is a true pleasure to be here with you, Hillary, to talk about your work and to talk about the ways in which you, in many ways, are leading the charge and thinking about alternatives within fashion and alternatives within the ways in which we think about the connection between humans and animals. And I want to just talk first about your upbringing, your villain origin story, and how you found yourself, not just as a designer, but meeting the responsibilities that you, in many ways, define for yourself.
Yeah, so I guess let's get into it. I was raised very privileged with a pony. At like 3 years old, I had a pony, and so I was always around nature. We always had like 3 or 4 dogs. I was basically always playing in the dirt, picking up lizards at the barn, taking them home, hiding them from my mom. Always trying to have as many animals around as possible. And this one is my soul dog. But yeah, so I think being around that emotional connection between a horse my whole childhood, because I don't know if anyone knows, a horse is a very sensitive creature. So if you ride horses, I rode competitively. So basically I would get out of school around noon and I would go to the barn every day and ride horses until it was dark. And riding a horse is so sensitive. They can feel every emotion. If you're sad, if you're having a really bad day, then the horse is having a bad day too. So I think this connected energy between animals and humans was always ingrained into my brain. And I think that I am very sensitive to how animals react to humans, and I think that just is something that's such a part of me that it just flows into my work.
And I think that as part of the larger ethos of Collina, one big tenet of the brand is thinking about childlike wonder and being able to connect with one's younger self. And for you, that comes from this connection with animals. And I wonder if you could talk about why it feels important as something to communicate. Because it's not just this thing that you're embodying or that the clothes embody. It's in many ways like a position, not exactly political, but a grandstanding within the work that you do.
Yeah, I think flora and fauna is our position. So it's like truly an embodiment of nature in general. I think, and animals obviously have such a huge part of nature. So I think just like really grounding yourself in a space of nature and just like loving every creature on the planet and loving anything that grows or, I don't know, like this show is called Please Don't Eat My Friends. I'm wearing that shirt. It says woof. I'm vegan, if you didn't know. So,
Not in an annoying way.
Yeah, not in an annoying way, but yeah. But before it was annoying, I used to like just be at a restaurant and I said, I don't eat fear. Because I just really believe that because it's all energy, when you are eating meat, you're eating their last emotion, is what I believe. I don't know how others believe, but so that was kind of my initial step into being vegan. And that's kind of what has been ingrained into the work. So this collection was basically where we turned some of the models into animals, and there was a very serious side and then a very non-serious side. And we've done it. This was something I've always wanted to do, and we were really lucky to work with Ismaya French to develop the prosthetics on this. But this came after a show that was a bit more electronic. We did digital Animorphs collection, and if you guys are familiar with the books Animorphs, we were able to work with David Mattingly, who's the original Animorphs artist, to create the actual artwork for that collection, which is not what's on the screen, but I don't know, I think, which is also a childhood book, which I just picked up on now.
We're drawing connections here today.
I don't know. I think for me, I wasn't allowed to love fashion as much as I do. So Collina Strada is like very much a healing of my childhood and being able to wear what I've always wanted to wear and wasn't able to be given in that moment. And you know, when I was a kid, there was no cool stores to shop at, and I think I'm just letting my 11-year-old self really live.
One of my favorite things about being a friend of yours and being a witness to what I believe is your genius, I'm obsessed with Hillary. It's like not a secret. You are a person who consistently makes things harder because you want other people to live better.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very earnest and beautiful commitment that you make with each collection. And I wonder if you could talk to us a bit, especially in relationship to the planet and thinking about these almost like sometimes parasocial relationships, like not all the animals are your friends, but you understand these ecosystems that fashion is feeding into. What are some of the questions that you're thinking about as you're sourcing material, as you're thinking about shapes and silhouettes, and the ways to also have a functioning business?
Yeah, so I'm truly like a business girly too. I love making money.
We share that.
I love being able to pay my staff, you know, first and foremost. Having a staff is really, really cool. Being able to pay them is even cooler. Basically, we try to use a lot of dead stock. I try to not make as much product as I can with things that are already on this planet. I try to like bring anything I can. I love reusing things. There's a lot of fabric in my studio that I'm gonna reuse this collection because we're moving, and I'm like, wow, we have so much stuff. So this whole next collection is gonna be a revitalization of old and renewing that. And we use something called rose silk, which is a cellulose fiber of rose plants, which comes from when they grow roses for like Valentine's Day and Mother's Day, they have to always grow this many roses throughout the year, so as much as they need. So there's a lot during not those times, which they then make rose silk out of, which is very cool. And so that's kind of my secret trick. And we're working a lot right now with mycelium, and that's kind of where my head's at. I'm trying to build some mycelium structures right now that will clean the air in New York City. That's a really bold goal of mine. But it's happening. We're growing the mycelium right now.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Which then reverts back to, of course, this idea of companionship, like wanting to do things ethically, making sure that your studio is running sustainably. But then we have Pal with us, who is this important player in making sure that all of this happened, this understanding of like what companionship means and what it means to have a familiar. And I wonder, not that this has to be an exacting answer, but one of the conversations that we had, especially at the time of the kind of offset of the fires in California, which is where you're from, you were really immediately one of the first people I saw who was like, but what about the animals?
Yeah.
And part of me was like, but what about the humans?
I was like, no, what about the animals?
But what about the animals? Because we coexist in these ways, and I wonder if you could just talk about that. I don't know, like what that looks like for you and how important and valuable those relationships are.
Like in regards to when we have to evacuate, or like?
No, in regards to when like we are under siege in these moments, right?
Yeah.
Like our nervous systems are overtaxed and asked, and we have these symbiotic relationships with them where they feel for us, but also they wait for us and support us in these ways. And I wonder if you could talk about how that plays into your sensibility, or even just like as a human being, your relationship with this animal who loves you dearly.
Yeah. I mean, I like wouldn't get out of bed if it wasn't for this creature. I will, but like he makes it better. I think, you know, when it comes to animals, first of all, I don't think you should have an animal unless you're ready to give it your whole life and energy and like go to work with it. And, you know, it's very tricky in New York City to have animals. I think it's super, like with the fires and stuff, like having those huge animals be at risk is so scary. You know, I had a lot of friends like go take their horse trailers and try to get these huge horses out, you know, and then the evacuation barn was under fire. Like everything was just a mess. It was very frightening for me. A lot of places where I grew up were riding burnt to the ground, which is really sad. But yeah, I think it's just like, you know, I don't know. I think animals, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, and they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us. So I think it's just like, we all just have to live in this way that we can, I don't know. I think it's just, you guys, we're really, truly killing the planet. And the more I think about it, the scarier it is. And like how with deforestation and everything, I don't think we're doing enough. And I think there's so much work to be done. But all I can do at this point is spread awareness and hope and do the best I can and make the best kind of small business that I can and not ruin the planet while doing it.
One of the other elements in the kind of Collina ethos is this element of play. And these fusions between the tactile and the digital. And I wonder if you could talk about how you fuse those things together to storytell around these conversations around our connection and our responsibility as human beings on the planet.
So, like, digitally?
No, digitally, well, it's like, I think that you have brought this sophistication to not just garment making, but also storytelling. Like, I'm thinking through, like, the Gucci project and the video game, how it created this opportunity to engage with the work in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of ways in which, like, as we sit in this tech space, there is this high premium on efficiency and the not silkiness, the sleekness of something that's digital, but you find yourself at this kind of playful intersection between the two. And I wonder if you could talk about the impact of digital tech on the ways in which you're making and how you're thinking about educating people on the things you're making.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a tech girl. COVID was a really good time for me, and fortunately to say, I got to really work on amazing technology. We got to make a video game. I got to make an Animorphs collection. I got to really like work with things, machine learning, things I never believed I could work on because we had the time to do it. And I think that technology is something we have to embrace, or else it's just gonna, if you don't embrace it, it'll run us over. It's gonna run us over. Other people are gonna embrace it and get ahead of you. Life just moves on. But I think using technology to create emotion and to create positive energy and to create messaging is the only way that I feel comfortable doing it. So if I'm like using technology and being like, hey, don't eat a burger today, like, cool, you know what I mean? We did a whole reality TV show and it was like, don't eat meat, basically, and like recycle. So there's ways to go around it where I think it's just like, A, fun for me, B, I think it's just such a cool part of my job to be able to get out of the just plain old making clothes, because that's so easy and just boring. Just kidding. But I think I really like to challenge myself, and I really like to do the most, and I really like to learn. I think learning every day on new things is all we can do as humans on this earth, and then we just learn more about ourselves and learn more about any different processes.
When I think also about the connection between humans and animals, I think about how, in many ways, they require us to be more honest. And I think one of my personal anxieties of this moment in our fusion between creativity and technology is this divorcing of process. Where so much more of the value is on the final product than the work that it takes to get us there. And I wonder for you as you have this playing field of options for how to engage with technology. How are you thinking ethically about that, staying true to form and also wanting to make sure that you're doing it and modeling well, or even if that's a concern of yours, it's like, do you have room for mistakes?
Yeah. No, okay, so like people will come, people hate AI. So I'm sure some of you do. I have used AI in some of our prints and some of our designs. What I do to kind of keep it honest, and I don't believe in stealing people's artwork, so what I'll do is like take my own drawings or my own prints and I'll merge them together to try to find new things within my own artwork and try to amplify my own art in different ways. And so that's how I try to stay honest with using technology to stay in a lane, my own lane, and make sure that I'm not like getting distracted from what else could be out there. I think that's just like the way I can feel good about it, and I think it's important, to have that honesty. But once you have that AI image, you're not done. Like there's like 3 weeks of work to make the print to repeat, like then you have to get it printed. Like there's so much more work that goes into it just besides this little square that gets automated by Midjourney or something. So, I mean, the process is so long from that. And I once did a collection in Spring 24 that was, a combination of other Collina clothes together. And we came up with a bunch of clothing patterns that were actually impossible to make. And it was really hard, and my team was not so happy with me. But we got to make some really crazy clothes that really pushed us and pushed our boundaries. But it was not a simple task. Like technology almost made it harder for us in that moment, but also pushed me as a designer in a way that I have never gone before. So it's like this catch-22 of, I don't know, it's like, it's great.
It's there.
It's there.
It's there. But we have a responsibility to get on the bus or get lost, but also to find the most ethical way to use these things. I feel like there's such a high premium, like I was saying, on the efficiency and the execution. And in so many ways, I think the best part of Collina is that you're pushing against that and saying like, okay, we need to make things that are worth loving, worth holding on to, and worth being a companion with for as long as you can. It's this stewardship of garments that feels in many ways almost like of a yesteryear.
Yeah.
Where I feel like we're in this contemporary moment of fashion where it's like the new, the flashy, this specific shape, and those things can often fade.
Yeah, you're wearing a dress that's 4 years old? Yeah.
And it fucks.
Yeah. So, making things that are uniquely my own, make it almost like transcend trends, which I think kind of make it this vibe in which you're like, you can tell a Collina Strada product from like a mile away, but also it doesn't really matter what season it is, so it's slower fashion in my mind. Or I strive for that.
And then also, to keep a soluble business that stays in the black.
Yeah.
Balancing act.
Yeah. And we opened a new store on 52 Canal Street.
Yes, go to 52 Canal Street, have a tactile shopping experience, touch the garments, feel the silk, the organza.
Sometimes he's there. Sometimes.
Celebrity.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like your Nepo baby.
Okay, but he is. You guys, I was going through a magazine, System Magazine. It was like Autumn Winter 25 Collections magazine. And I was like, oh, cool, I have like one little picture in there of Collina Strada. So thrilled. I scroll through the end of it. There's a picture of Powell just by himself in this magazine, and I was like, and then the other page is like Muchia Prada and Anna Wintour and Rick Owens, and then it's just like Powell. And I'm like, okay, when did you take that picture?
The day rate consistently goes up.
It was just like editors during Fashion Week, like their snaps, and it's just like this little guy.
For those who are watching and feel, or here, who feel really puzzled by how to maintain a positive relationship to creation, I wonder if you could share a bit of advice to those folks.
Positive relationship to creation?
Yeah, I know that's not the truth of your journey all the time, but I wonder if there's insight.
Yeah, there's nothing better than having an idea and accomplishing it to the end, and Okay, so for me, I actually was just across the way, and I was at the party, and Marc Jacobs was there, and he's like, "Do you ever not get 100% out of your fashion shows?" And I was like, "Girl, I get 10% of what I want." And he's like, "Yeah, it's so weird." And I was like, "You're just now figuring
You're
this
Marc
out?"
Jacobs.
Yeah. How many fashion shows have you done? I mean, like, well, he's probably achieved a lot that he wanted. I, on the other hand, get like 10 to 20% of my true vision, but that just pushes me harder as a creative. And I'm like, well, I hated look 17 and look 21, and I can't believe that model did that during that time. So, like, that pushes me to do better and better and better as a creative. And I think that's kind of the, I don't know, the qualm of being an artist is like you're never really satisfied, but that's kind of the push that you get from yourself. But also, like, other people are satisfied with your work, which makes you feel like you should keep going. That's how I feel. I also love I only wear Collina Strada. I'm like my #1 fan secretly. But
A Leo,
Yeah, true.
everyone.
But like, it's true. If I can't wear the clothes, I don't expect you to wear them, right? It's not really fair if I can't wear them. So I think it's about making stuff that you feel good about, that you feel, if it's clothing, you must feel great about it. If it's a painting, you must feel like you could hang it in your house and you would feel good about that. Something that you can feel proud of, and also something that you can be like, I like this, but also I know that I can do it better next time. And that's kind of the true brain of an artist, and from all my friends and me.
We're wrapping up, but I want to ask you not what's the future of Collina, and I know that you're in the process of developing this mycelium, but what are some of the things that feel maybe at this point like unfinished that you want to approach in these next few years as you're continuing to build this legacy and brand?
Well, I have a theory that a lot of the new technology fabrications of like eco fabrics that are on the market are usually bought up by big corporations, are not able to be used by smaller brands, therefore they kind of don't exist for people like us. So I'm just really want to try to stop that from happening and try to make things in the fabrication industry more community-based and a little bit easier for us to all use, so we can change the planet a little bit more and the industry a little bit more, and I can kind of help be that gateway for a lot of other designers as well. So I kind of want to just help all designers make their work better as well. I don't know, I have a lot of designers friends. I work with the CFDA Sustainable I don't know, panel, committee. And I think that's like really part of my calling, is to make sure that other people can use better materials so that they also aren't the problem.
And I think, I don't know if you can talk about with how you do that within collaborations, like, because I also, over the last few years especially, and also one of the anchors for a brand at that scale is these collaborations with the Uggs, with Baggu, with these larger companies, how you then teach them.
Yeah, so I like to do collaborations where I'm like, okay, so what fabric have you never been able to use yet that's like your most sustainable fabrication that like you haven't gotten approved yet? Like, I'll be your test dummy. So like, you can send them, if they get sent back, you can blame me or whatever. And like, so I really like to go in there and shake things up. And people are always like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I'll just call the vice president and ask. And then I do. And then it usually gets approved. So I was the first person ever to make a vegan Ugg that looks like a true Ugg. So I don't know, there's small things, not small things, but hopefully, you know, they can continue that process after with me, because it was a huge success. We sold out. People asked for more. I won a PETA award from it. I mean,
Scream.
Yeah. They're like, PETA Designer of the Year. I was like, did that even exist before today? But yeah, so I'm PETA's Designer of the Year for 2024. They haven't announced this year's winner yet, so I'm really hoping.
Let's see, big shoes, big vegan shoes.
Yeah, I guess it really does relate to animals.
I mean, it does. It relates to responsibility, and it relates to, yeah, like not it's so easy to exist on an island. It's so easy in fashion to be the hero of the story and singular, and it's a lonely place to be. And I feel like whether across species, you're always trying to find ways for us to be able to relate better to ourselves and to do that through a space of healing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't just come from like always just play even though play is there, but making sure that you are maintaining a good relationship to your own morals.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if anything, animals keep us honest.
Yeah. And when you get a puppy, put it on a schedule. Like a baby.
Like a precious little lamb.
And then you'll have the most perfect dog ever.
Thank you all so much for your time, for your presence, for your energy. Thank you to the live stream.
Yeah.
Support Collina Strada. Go to the store, shop online, read the interviews, boost them, share them with your friends. Be kinder to animals. Don't eat our friends.
Yeah, please don't eat my friends. Or at least today.
Yeah, for one day.
Start one day.
I'm vegan already today.
Yeah.
I had oat milk. Thank you so much to the New Ink team, everyone who brought this all together. Yeah, that's all for us.
Thank you.
Can give them one more round of applause. Thank you, thank you. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with museum sustainability.